destroyed them, and even if Zeelis could have repaired them, we'd had neither time nor opportunity to collect the broken pieces. "Done," Amalia declared, startling me out of my thoughts. "Help me slide this off him. Zeelis, put your arms up." He lifted his arms, and Amalia and I tugged the pin-lined garment over his head. She held the incomplete jacket up, squinting critically, then grabbed her sewing bag and headed for her bedroom. "He's all yours, Robin," she called distractedly. She disappeared through the door, missing the way my face had blanched at her words. I gulped, telling myself to get a grip. "Vayanen." I turned towards Zeelis, now shirtless with soft light washing over his bare skin and impossibly perfect musculature. He peered at me, his face unreadable, and I tensed in anxious anticipation, waiting for the gavel to fall. How much of my inner dialogue had he picked up on? Had he noticed me ogling him? Was he about to—
"Where are my cookies?"
Oh, Amalia and I had bribed him into participating in the garment fitting by promising a new type of cookie. I was supposed to feed him now. That's what Amalia meant when she'd said he was all mine. "Right," I squeaked, spinning on my heel. I zoomed into the kitchen where a bag of chocolate chips waited. I measured out a cup and stuck them in the microwave, then faced the counter where a dozen cookies cooled on a rack, their golden brown tops capped with white blobs of marshmallow. I alternated between melting the chocolate chips, which needed stirring every 30 seconds, and arranging the cookies on a piece of parchment paper. The familiar mundane movements calmed my jitters, and I hummed as I mixed a tablespoon of shortening into the melted chocolate to smooth it out. The aroma made my mouth water as I drizzled chocolate in zigzags across the cookie tops, then sprinkled them with crumbled walnuts. Smiling at the cute, delicious desserts, I washed out the measuring cup and tidied the counters. When the chocolate had cooled, I stacked the cookies on a plate and ventured out of the safe kitchen. Zeelis had retreated to the far end of the sofa, his elbow propped on his knee and chin on his palm, watching me. All my anxiety came flooding right back. I set the plate on the end table beside him. "These are called Rocky Road cookies."
"Rocky Road? Why?"
He picked up a cookie and squinted at the chocolate-drizzled marshmallow on top.
"How is this a road?"
I'm not sure, actually. That's just what it's called." Now that he mentioned it, the name was kind of odd. I made a mental note to look it up later. He gave the cookie a quick examination, then bit it in half. The sight of his white canines made my stomach drop strangely. After a few cursory chews, he swallowed.
"Part of it is soft."
"That's the marshmallow." I tugged self-consciously on the sleeve of my sweater. "Do you like it?" In answer, he tossed the rest of the cookie in his mouth. I relaxed. Why did I always worry about him liking my baking even though he'd devoured every single thing I'd ever made him? He picked up a second cookie. His tail twitched as he studied it. Then his gaze flicked to my face, or was he looking at my mouth? Panic shot through me and I reeled backward. "I'm going to work on the grimoire." My feet scooted swiftly across the carpet, then I was safely in my bedroom. Sprawled across my pillow, Socks lifted her head, her ears perked toward me. She blinked her huge green eyes as I stopped beside the bed, my heart racing uncomfortably. Memories flitted through me, of placing a bite of strawberry against Zeelis's lips, of his lips on my skin, of his mouth brushing across mine. I couldn't stop thinking about it. The mere sight of his predatory canines had triggered a visceral recollection of what they'd felt like against my skin. I pressed both hands to my face, breathing deep, then crouched and slid a flat metal case from beneath my bed. I whispered the incantation and flipped the lid open. The Athanas grimoire waited in its nest of brown paper with my notebook. I lifted the latter out and flipped it to a completed translation. "I have stood before a demon of another world, and wondered that which no woman should ever wonder. I've yearned for that which no woman should ever claim. I've laid my hands upon that which no woman should ever touch." My throat bobbed as I swallowed. Like Medini, my ancestor who'd added our story to the grimoire thousands of years ago, I too had stood before a demon and wondered things a woman shouldn't wonder. I'd longed for a demon.